Welcome to episode number 179 of your Beyond Social Media Show, the podcast for you marketing, advertising, public relations, and communications professionals. We are recording live on YouTube on March 16, 2017. Your topics for tonight include a lot of them, a lot of news. Hamburglar did it. Interview crashers, Boaty McBoatface returns, momentary analytics, resistance radio, rocking in the digital world, footprints across LA, hijacked highways, flows Adult Swim, 3D printed houses, more fake news, and a lot more. And we always kick it off with the best. BL has the honors. BL, what was the best story of the week?
Well, earlier today, McDonald's, this is the Twitter debacle of the week, McDonald's got hamburgled. And so somebody took over their account. And early this morning, they tweeted on McDonald's account, "Real Donald Trump, you are actually a disgusting excuse of a president, and we would love to have Barack Obama back. Also, you have tiny hands." And that immediately got shared 1,500 times, which caused my friend Adam Singer to say, "That was actually pretty good marketing at McDonald's Corp. Now I want a breakfast sandwich, tastes like freedom," and then in parentheses of speech. And of course, that just escalated, and McDonald's, of course, they say their account was compromised, but a lot of people loved it. And of course, the Trump trolls say they're going to boycott McDonald's. And so in a statement to CBS Money Watch, McDonald's said, "Twitter notified us that our account was compromised. We deleted the tweet, secured our account, and are now investigating this. But of course, what goes online stays online." So somebody tweeted, "I'll buy 100 McNuggets right now if you put the tweet back up." Others chimed in, "I'll throw in another 100 and I'll buy 500 McNuggets and donate them to the homeless." Then, of course, what goes online stays online, so you'll be able to see the tweet in our show notes.
Well, another snafu was went viral this week. Absolutely went viral this week. The very definition of a viral video. This is from a Vox article by Aja Romano, but I did see it on Facebook first. But Robert E. Kelly. So the world is falling apart, and there's flare-ups and all over the world, and South Korea is one of them. North Korea, their president was impeached, and so Robert E. Kelly is a respected political science professor and an international security expert. He was being interviewed about the impeachment of the president on BBC, when in trumps his daughter. He's in his home office, and in trumps his daughter in this blazing yellow shirt. You cannot avoid her, and she's in the background. The BBC reporter is, "I think your daughter just walked in the room," and the little girl is followed by a baby who shoots in a scooter, and then
they go really fast in those things.
Yeah, and then she is in turn followed by the mom, who slides into the room and panicked corrals the kids and drags them out of the room. And then in the back, you see her like trying to hide from the camera and close the door as well. All the while, the poor guy is mortified, obviously, and saying, "Excuse me, I apologize. But it instantly went online and has had millions and millions of views. I must have watched it 25 times. It's
It was
so freaking hilarious.
Funny. I mean, it really is. And anybody who's ever had a kid or known one knows how that could happen. I mean, the advantages and disadvantages of working at home, Yep.
Well, we know from doing a podcast, there are certain things you need to do if you're going to be interviewing by BBC from your home office. Lock the door. Turn your phone off. There's a handful of things. We could have sent them some best practices, but I think you'll probably know by now.
So, of course, there were parodies, and my favorite one was by Street Art Globe. It's called "Spicy on the Job" on Instagram, and in the place of the first kid, he put Trump, and the second one, he put Bannon, and racing in to grab them away, of course, is Kellyanne Conway. So today was a fun day online. Less funny, Pinterest has opened its lens to all of us on Android and iOS. It's a visual search tool, and it's not quite ready to hop out of beta yet, but they're giving a lot more of us a chance to try it out. And so it's had a month-long trial with a small group of testers. It's pretty much the app's version of the reverse image search, and so that you can easily shop for items on Pinterest by taking their photos. And say you want to look up your friend's vase that's shaped like an upside down human head, you tap the search bar and take a photo of it, and you use the camera icon that pops up in the search bar, and then you can use any image from your gallery as well, and your queries surface other people's pins and products you can purchase from within the app. So it's not quite as accurate as they'd like it to be, but they're working on it. And it's excellent at looking up outfits and recipe ingredients, but it's still learning, and they say that. And they plan to keep it in beta until it gets a lot better at recognizing what's in a photo. And you can help speed up that process by sending in feedback. Very cool.
Yep. That's very cool. Machine vision. It's what you need is a very, very large data set and obviously talented programmers. So, but yeah, we'll see how that proceeds. I came across something on Facebook, another thing on Facebook, it turns out, this week that I thought was very clever. It was a sponsored Facebook post that had autoplay audio on it. So that's why I paid attention to it. And it wasn't a Spotify playlist for a Donald Trump protest songs, but it sure kind of sounded like that at the beginning, which may be why it caught my attention. But it was from Amazon Prime, and it was sounded like a pirate radio broadcast from the world of The Man in the High Castle, which is one of their hit shows, which I absolutely adore. Can't wait till the next season. But it was just a radio broadcast. There was the Resistance DJs broadcasting clandestinely, and it's promoting a soundtrack for Amazon Prime's hit show for The Man in the High Castle. The soundtrack has 40s and 50s era musical styles, but there are covers by like Sharon Von Eaton sings The End of the World. Beck covers I Can't Help Falling in Love. Granddaddy covers Love Hurts by Nazareth. So there are all these 40, 50 style covers of popular songs. But I thought it was a very clever way of promoting both the show and the soundtrack, and a great way to tide fans over until the next season.
That's really smart. Well, guess who's back? You all remember Boaty McBoatface. This is an NPR story from Camelia Domanowski, and the remotely operated underwater research vessel known as Boaty McBoatface is preparing for its first research mission, which is an expedition into some of the deepest and coldest abysmal ocean waters on Earth. And you remember Boaty McBoatface, the moniker that won an online poll meant to name the newest research ship in the UK's Natural Environment Research Council fleet, but the council opted to overrule the will of the people and named the ship the Royal Research Ship Sir David Attenborough instead. Boo. As a consolation gesture, however, a small autonomous underwater vehicle was named Boaty McBoatface, so the name lives on in a way that makes less sense because it's submersible. So Boaty McSubface, maybe?
Boaty McDroneface.
Yeah, maybe, but the UK's National Oceanography Centre designed a cartoon version of Boaty McBoatface to help teach children about marine research. And so that, according to The Guardian, a full-size inflatable version of the submersible will travel to events across the country. So Boaty McBoatface is back.
Very good. Very good. Glad to hear it. I came across a fantastic article on CMO.com by Tim Moran, and it's an interview with Evan Jones, who's the CMO of Fender Music, and he's discussing the 70-year-old brand's digital transformation. It's a great read. It's a long read, but it's a great read to understand how an iconic brand that has been around for 70-plus years can make the digital transformation. One thing they do is they put the focus on musicians. Obviously, they're a music company, but they make musicians the hero of their storytelling. An example is a mini documentary of Flea, who is the bassist for the Red Hot Chili Peppers, and it features him playing his bass, obviously playing his Fender Jazz bass, but he also happens to be a bee farmer. He farms bees. He raises bees. Who knew? Obviously, he's a bassist, and that's central to his identity. So there's product placement all over the place, but it doesn't feel forced because that's what he does, right? But it tells a unique story about him and things you wouldn't have guessed of a bassist from a punk band, but who raises bees.
I love when brands do things like
Yeah.
that, really relatable things. But you may not know this about me, but in another life, I worked for Hohner Instruments, and I was the Harmonica Fairy, and it was my job to go to concerts. This was my first job out of college. I would go to concerts, and I would give people like Stevie Wonder and you name it, Bob Dylan, and I'd say, "Hi, I'm B.L. Ochman from Hohner, and I want to give you this new glass harmonica and see what you think about it." And then that's what we would do. We would feature them in ads and write stories about them. And I used to put on harmonica festivals and things like that. And obviously the digital tools didn't exist, but that's exactly what we would have done. And the story of the company was fascinating. I mean, it started in a forest in Trossingen, and they're all I happen to be, in case anybody wants to know, one of the greatest living experts on the history of the harmonica. Not something I am often asked about.
Wow. I did not know that. So another story I came across, which I just love this. This is from Adweek article by Tim Nudd. The movie Kong, Skull Island opened last week, and to gin up some earned media and excitement for the show, the experiential agency Grand Design created giant ape footprints strategically placed around LA, simulating the destructive path of Kong, tromping about LA. Footprints down the coast of Dockweiler Beach. They're measured 20 feet long by 12 feet across and sculpted into the sand. They're crushed vehicles near Capitol Records with fog machines inside, so it looked like they were smoking. That's great. Footprints at the Hollywood sign and on the Walk of Fame outside Dolby Theater. There are Kong's footprints crushing his own star. So
I like
very
that
good.
a lot. I love that kind of stuff. That's so W.C. Fields of them. So Twitter is adding, finally, analytics for moments. Moments are something that hardly anybody knows what they are. But they're going to report total views, unique viewers, completion rates, shares, and likes. And just if you don't know, anybody can create a moment, which would be a collection of tweets on a particular topic. For one of my clients, I do a collection of very impactful videos by nonprofit companies, for example. For another, I do something on the incidences of child abuse and how it can be hopefully handled. And so the move to expose moments measurements is their latest attempt to draw interest in their storytelling format that they've done such a lousy job of promoting. It's been around since 2015, but it's been a mystery or a non-entity. So finally, they're making an effort to put moments on the map and put it on a par with products like Snapchat, Instagram, Facebook Messenger, and Medium. Duh. And so people will be able to see it. It's rolling out. Not everybody has it. Like some of my clients have it, I don't. But people can see how many times the moment was opened, how many people individually opened a moment, how many times it got liked, how many people clicked the share button to tweet it out, what percentage of people viewed everything in it. And so you tap on an icon in the upper right corner of the moment, and it drops down analytics. So, I hope it helps.
Very cool. I will have to check and see if I've got access to that. Can't have enough analytics as far as I'm concerned.
Mr. Analytics over there.
I came across this one too. This is another experiential campaign that's just fantastic. This is from Ads of the World. I found it. McCann is the agency that did it. The Pan American Highway is Peru's most traveled road in the summer. and it has tons of billboard space. It's like coveted advertising space along this long stretch of highway. More than 400 expensive billboards clutter that highway. But how do you cut through the clutter if you want to capture those eyeballs of everybody driving to their summer vacations? Sodimac Home Center, which is the Home Depot of Peru, figured out how to do it. They handed out more than 40,000 Google Cardboards to motorists. They basically hijacked the highway by giving people a VR experience along their drive.
While they're driving?
Yeah, it featured 15 kilometers of the store's catalog of products dancing across the road. So toys and stuff dancing as people are driving. The kids are using the cardboard to just watch things parade across the highway from the store.
The kids are not the drivers.
Yes. They made a point of handing it to the passengers.
Goodness gracious, I mean, when you go into the Midtown Tunnel, there are these video billboards, and I am sure they cause accidents. I am certain they do, because you can't not look at them, and they're big. Yep. So the other thing that I came across this week that I really liked, and this came from a Mashable story by Katie Dupere, is a self-defense starter kit of videos to empower Muslim women, and really any women can use this knowledge for self-defense. What do you do if somebody grabs your wrist? How do you get out of it? What do you do if somebody shoves you? What do you do? But the thing is, it's not a substitute, obviously, for training, but and you're not going to learn it from just watching a video once, but it's certainly better than nothing. And they're really fun the way they've done them. And they have, funny cartoonish things that go over them. It's very serious stuff, obviously, but to respond to the harassment in particular, there's even one about what do you do if somebody grabs your hijab. So very worth looking at, and it's a project that there needs to be more of. But the way it's done is what's great about it, is that it's fun and it's funky and it's serious stuff.
Good, very good. I am all about advertising this week, apparently. So I've got another advertising example. I noticed you watched the Progressive Insurance ads with Flo, the Flo character.
Yes.
I love them. They're clever and funny, and I don't know if I'm going to buy insurance, as we've often remarked about advertising, but but I do pay attention to them, right? So I was noticing them running on the screen at work, and they have a new campaign out which was familiar to me, and it struck me that they're trying to target millennial men, because this new series uses the same animation style of a Comedy Central, Adult Swim, Robot Chicken TV show. You ever watch Robot Chicken, BL?
I can say that I have.
I figured that was the case. But Robot Chicken is produced by Seth Green, and it's very irreverent. It's hilarious. Short little animated clips on popular culture and commentary on popular culture. But they have the Flo commercials, the Progressive Insurance commercials have adopted that style for their new campaign. So I think they're definitely targeting millennial men, because that's the audience for that. Yeah.
But today I took this quiz on BuzzFeed. They said they were willing to bet you, I don't know, $1 million that they could guess your age by your answer to these questions. And they guessed my age to be between 30 and 34. I love you, BuzzFeed.
There you go. So you got any other good ones?
I don't. I'm on to the worst.
No, I got one more, and I got to do this one because we skipped it last week. So
okay. And I love
3D,
it anyway.
3D printed houses. Who knew? Quartz. This is from a Quartz article by Mike Murphy. There's a San Francisco-based 3D printing startup called Apsis Core, and they've come up with an affordable solution for building new houses, 3D printing them. So they print concrete walls for a small house in under 24 hours. They use this massive 3D printer to lay down concrete walls in a test home at a site in Russia. where they have a business partner, and it prints out a cozy but livable 400 square foot house. The machine looks like a small crane. They have it spit out layer and layer of concrete mixture, and the company says it can last for 175 years. But after printing out the walls, they remove the printer, and then contractors come in and install the windows and the appliances and a roof. And they say that the cost of the windows and stuff is way more than the cost of the building the actual walls. So the company say they can build and furnish these small houses for about $10,000. So there you go.
I think that's such a wonderful thing. I saw that story as well, and they have additions to it, so you can make it bigger and still keep it, really affordable. And it looked actually really nice. And it's I think it also said that it wasn't so heavy that it needed a foundation. I think it said it didn't need a foundation, which also cuts down on the cost. But
I wouldn't put them in Oklahoma.
No. Well, I don't know if I'd put very much in Oklahoma. So fake news is never going away. And there's one that, this is from a Huffington Post story by Sebastian Murdoch. And I just kind of love this story because there was an intentionally fake news website called Underground News Report that came about earlier this month, and it was a joke. And so the leading story was breaking: satire makes fools of gullible Trump supporters. And within just 2 weeks of the website going online, McDaniels had already gotten more than 1 million views, thousands of comments, and hundreds of thousands of likes and shares on Facebook. And he said there were very few small handful of people questioning the legitimacy of his stories, despite a disclaimer at the bottom saying that they're not based on reality. And one would think that the ridiculousness of the stories would not necessitate a disclaimer. And some people even made YouTube videos about the stories. And McDaniel said, while writing them, I was aiming for stories no one would believe, but that would be satirical in an age where disinformation is so prevalent. And just for fun, I decided to post some of the stories in Trump fan groups on Facebook. So one fake story headlined, WikiLeaks, Obama ran pedophile ring out of White House, amassed more than 40,000 views. One of the comments read, I believe it. They are scum. Down with Obama. His wife, sick. Him took $111 million worth of stuff that should be repaid back to the taxpayers, back to America. Very literate. He also created fake news suggesting that Michelle Obama had a sex change, and Barack Obama tweeted out that Trump must be removed by any means necessary. And he said, to his surprise, Trump masses embraced his stories and almost universally. He said, it seemed as if there wasn't anything I could write that was too wild or outrageous to be believed by this audience. And so one of the comments was, I'm impressed by how this website tells it like it is. No sensationalism at all. Straight facts and well-documented research with sources and all. Thank God for the alternative media that saves us from the mainstream garbage by showing us the truth. So he's a 28-year-old U.S. citizen who lives in Costa Rica, and he said he made about $615, which he planned to donate to the 2020 Democratic presidential candidate, whoever that will be, hoping it's Cory Booker. So some of his top headlines, he said, if I wrote about CNN being fake news and connected to ISIS, readers would wholeheartedly agree. If I wrote about the black liberal or Obama supposedly saying something controversial, the response was unbridled racism and hatred. When I wrote about Hillary Clinton's emails that proved that she was a child-sacrificing maniac, people screamed for her head. So here are some of the outrageous stories that they loved the most. WikiLeaks, Obama ran a pedophile ring out of the White House. Breaking, Feds raid Obama bunker in search of evidence. Bombshell, WikiLeaks lost Clinton email something. Trump must be removed by any means necessary. Breaking, Time Warner Cable declines to renew CNN's contract. Breaking, Biden turns on Hillary. I'll testify if necessary. Former White House aide, Obama is a gay man. So, this is just sad. It's just sad.
So is he continuing to do it?
No, he's done. It was, it was
Right.
it was like a satirical joke, and just proving that there's no sense of humor left in the world, and that Trump supporters will believe anything you tell them.
All right. Well, I got nothing there.
There's nothing. Yeah, what could you possibly add to that? I mean, seriously.
This was kind of funny, and funny if you're not the subject of the story. So this is from a Huffington Post article by David Moy. And so what if your name was Alexa Siri? What would you do? You probably feel lucky that it's not, because that is the name of a 21-year-old college student in New Jersey who says her life is a waking nightmare because when Apple first introduced Siri in 2011, friends and colleagues at her job kept addressing her by her last name as if she were a machine. It got worse in 2015 when Amazon released its Echo device, which of course you
Alexa,
activate
turn
by
on the
saying
sprinklers.
yes. So she's quoted as saying it started off at work. It would be Siri do this, Siri do that, and now they do the same thing with Alexa. She said mostly people just say, "Ha ha, I'm telling you what to do," and I'm like, "Okay, haha, that's a new one."
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
That's like when people say BL, bacon and lettuce. I say, yeah, you're the first person that never said that. So that brings us to shiny objects.
It does indeed. What do you got?
Well, I've been using Snagit for years, but they have a great new update, and it includes panoramic capture and animated GIFs and edit and annotate. You can edit and annotate screenshots, and now you can capture video much more easily, and you can make GIFs from within the video, and it's $49.95 if you had never bought it before, but if you're just upgrading your license, I think it was like $19 to upgrade it, keep it current, but it's such a great program. It's from TechSmith.
TechSmith does the
Camtasia.
Camtasia, which I use. Yep. So Alexa is on your iPhone now. You can get the Alexa app has been updated to allow you to do voice recognition and ask Alexa questions and stuff. I just saw the headline. Have it. Alexa, stop.
So you started her?
The Amazon Echo app. I got to be careful not to say her name. You can use on your iPhone now. It's apparently they've updated the app. It's going to be rolling out over the next week. I haven't tried it yet. It hasn't rolled out. Hasn't rolled out for me yet, but you can ask questions and everything. I don't know. I don't know whether you need to have an actual device to make it work, or you can just use the app and not have a device. But there you go. That's a cool thing. But that wasn't my shiny new stuff. I've actually got one. I just thought of talking about that because I was talking about Alexa just now. But X-Adapter is my exactly. X-Adapter is a WordPress plugin that allows you to import users. So if you do like it's designed specifically for WooCommerce users. So if you have a WooCommerce store, to get your WooCommerce customers into your WordPress site, if you've got a site, I've built a online academy for a client, so I'm trying to get users imported into it from spreadsheets, and so I was looking for a tool to do that, and this does it very well. It maps the user data. So usually when you import users into WordPress, you only have a handful of fields that you can import through this typical installation for WordPress, but I need to import more data from these users, and so this allows you to do that. Starts at $69. I think it's well worth the price if you need that functionality. So there you go. That's my cool thing.
What is WooCommerce?
WooCommerce is like it's an online store solution.
Like Shopify?
Yeah.
Probably more sophisticated.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
I'm having fun with Shopify. I'm almost there.
All right. Very cool.
So that brings us to
the daily numbers, and I would be remiss if I weren't tackling this subject this week. St. Patrick's Day. This is from a Wallet Hub infographic. 51.6% of Americans plan to celebrate St. Patrick's Day tomorrow. They will spend $5.3 billion on festivities collectively. On average, each of us will spend, who are celebrating, those of us who are celebrating, $38 per person on average. 82.5% of us plan to wear green. St. Patrick's Day is the fourth most popular drinking holiday, behind only New Year's Eve, Christmas, and Independence Day. And 13 million pints of Guinness, of course, will be consumed. So there you go. Happy St. Patrick's Day.
Sadly, that means a lot of people will be throwing up on the subway tomorrow night. I'm going to try and stay out of their way. Maybe I'll wear green, though. My next door neighbors have put up a St. Patrick's Day decoration. That's not something you usually see in apartment buildings, but they like to decorate their door for every conceivable holiday.
We have a St. Patrick's Day party every St. Patrick's Day at work. We have an Irish band we're bringing in, and we have a local brewer who's coming in to talk about their craft beers. So yeah, it'll be fun.
Taking the bus home, right?
I am.
Just checking. So that brings us to the end. Oh, did you get your spectacles?
I did. We'll talk about that next week.
Okay, can't wait to hear. Okay, so that brings us to the end of episode 179 of the Beyond Social Media Show. And you will find, excuse me, you will find our show notes, which will include the video and links to all the stories we discussed on our blog, which is beyondsocialmediashow.com/179. And on YouTube, we're Beyond Social Media Show. On Twitter, we're BS Media. We're on iTunes, we're on Stitcher, and we're on iHeartRadio. And we hope that you will subscribe to the podcast and listen at your leisure. David Erickson, my charming co-host, is at D Erickson on Twitter, and he's also at The Daily Numbers, and he writes eStrategyBlog.com and the eStrategy Trends Strategy, TrendsEStrategyBlog.com, and he's on YouTube as eStrategy, and he writes at creativepr.com/blog, which is a spectacular newsletter that you definitely should get. And I'm BL Ochman, and on Twitter I am at What's Next. I blog at what'snextblog.com. On YouTube, my channel is What's Next Blog, and I am occasionally writing for Ad Age and other publications, and I would welcome you all to join us again next week, same time, same bat channel, and we thank you for watching tonight.
Thanks for watching.